Hi friends, January has hit. It has been chilly all across the United States. Today, it's balmy. It's like 30, 32. It feels really nice out considering the past week has been, I don't know what, the wind chill was like 9 or something, and it was snowing and sleeting and then snowing again. We didn't get a lot of accumulation, as you can see. Some of it has melted, but it snowed and then it sleeted and then it went down to like single digits, so it was an ice pond back here. So she was like ice skating. Her nails are a little long, so she was able to deal, but I don't highly recommend it. And then it snowed again on Friday. It was like that confectionery sugar snow. So today is our first foray outside for an extended period of time, which meant I had to pick up lots of dog poop. So what is sad is all the plants are in shock that had been growing because the weather was so weird. So you can see all this new growth that had been on the elderberry is now not so happy. And it makes me sad because it was confused thinking it was spring and I knew it was going to get cold. But even though there isn't a lot to see in winter, right? Today, there's a beautiful blue sky. And there's still some green with the evergreens. And you can still see color in the shades of brown, right? It's not gray today. We have a blue sky. The sun is out. It's melting the snow. Make sure Bee does not get into trouble because she's apt to do that. So I had wanted to harvest this kale and I didn't. It's looking a little bit better than it was, but it was looking mighty rough. But it's looking a little bit better today. So maybe I'll be able to use some of that. I was gonna make some kale and white bean soup. The garlic is not looking so happy because it sprouted early because the weather was wacky. But I could hear the hawks. I saw the ravens and the vultures because they have to still eat even though it's really cold, right? They still have to fend for themselves. And so that gives me hope that even when things are really quiet, right? Maybe there's some insects overwintering in the insect box. Even when there looks like there's nothing going on, underneath the surface, we know there's a lot. There's mycelium running. The roots of each plant, even if they're dormant, are still speaking to each other in their own language. I have my garden clogs on, not my boots, and it's a little chilly. But there's still a lot going on, even if we don't see it. A lot of these plants, the rosemary is still alive, which is amazing. Not so much the parsley. Usually my rosemary doesn't overwinter. No, sidebar. So even though it looks like nothing is going on, there's a lot going on, right? So winter is a time of rest, but in our society, we don't do that. We want to still do, and get everything done and be accomplished and something to prove. But there's a reason that there's a time of rest. There's a reason we follow the rhythms of Mother Earth. Because there's a wisdom there. There's an innate wisdom that existed within her as well as within us. And I think when we lose track of that, it causes a lot of disconnection. It causes a lot of dis-ease. Being at ease with the body, you're healthy. But when you're at dis-ease, you're disconnected from the wisdom of the body, from the intelligence that exists there, from all that Mother Nature is trying to show us. But like, if I was desperate, there are still some things I could forage here. Some wood sorrel. I forget what that's called, but you can eat that. Like, it didn't all die. So there's still life to be had. The poor hellebore, they were blooming. And then it was, single digits. And they do not look happy. But we need to keep the faith and hope that even when times get really, really hard and it feels like we're completely alone and isolated and bereft and frustrated and desperate, like we can't go on anymore, it's important to find that small ray of hope, whatever that means for you. So like B, she makes me laugh. She keeps my spirits up. You know, today I ventured out to the store because the next 3 days it's going to rain and it's going to be a muddy mess. And I just don't want to deal with that. So I have the luxury of being able to go today. And, you know, I was just, rather than like having this manic energy of like, oh my God, get me in, get me out. I don't want to be around people. They drive me crazy. I can feel all their things. I don't want to feel it. Instead, I decided to have this attitude of, rather than avoidance, could I be expansive in sending out good energy and allowing for things to be a little bit smoother. So for instance, I was returning something today and there was a woman ahead of me and she did not have her shit together. And the rep that was helping her was so polite, so nice. He didn't get annoyed. Like, he went out of his way to do what she needed to have done, even though she was not prepared. And I was like, that is amazing. You never see that anymore. Instead, you see like nobody has patience. Everyone's yelling at each other. You know, the man behind me kept sighing and rolling his eyes. And I was like, nope, I'm going to stay in this place of witnessing this young man be so accommodating to this woman who doesn't have her shit together. Rather than be frustrated, rather than be like, I just want to get out of here. I just was present in that moment of like, wow, this is so amazing. And then when it was my turn, I said to him, I really need to give you props because I did not have patience for that. I wouldn't have had patience for that. And you were so good with her. You were so accommodating. You were so polite. You were so helpful. And I think you should be proud of yourself. And he was like so taken aback because, again, most people who help us, who are assistants to us, are used to being berated, right? And listen, I'm human. And there are times I lose my shit. And there are times I don't have patience for people. And there are times that I may be a little snippy. And I might be the one sighing and roll my eyes, right? But there are also times where I feel a little bit more resourced. And I can instead be the example of how I want to be treated, of being the witness and the compassion in the moment, so that he can now be resourced the rest of his day to keep doing what he was doing for that one woman, for every person he sees for the rest of his shift. And I think that that's something we lose sight of in our society. We just want to get everything done. We want to check everything off the to-do list. But the to-do list never ends. It's never ending. And we're all just humans. We're all just trying to make it through the day, make it through the week, make it through the month, the year, the marriage, whatever that is, right? That we lose sight of the simple moments that really are all we have, the now, right? And again, I don't always have the capacity to do this. I'm actually shocked that I had the capacity today to do it because I felt a migraine forming this morning. So, and it wasn't a conscious thing either. It was just kind of like, I was there, I witnessed it, and I thought, isn't that nice? I'm going to sit in that energy, right? So I had a big accomplishment a few Fridays ago. I don't know, 10 days ago, let's say. I finished my self-help book. And I was so excited I finished it, right? I'd stopped and started this for 3 years. I talked about I wanted to do this thing. I wanted to create this book that had all the discoveries that I made over 13 years or, a decade of healing. And because for the first 3 years, I was still stuck in the illness, wanting a diagnosis, desperate for someone to fix me. But then after those 3 years, I was like, no, I need to do this myself. I don't know what that looks like, but I need to figure it out. And so I've taken 10 years of research, 10 years of life experience, 10 years of, being my own guinea pig to see what works, to see what actually made the difference. And that was what I want to share with you. And so I was like so proud of myself. I did this thing that seemed so surmountable, so impossible, right? I stopped and started it 3 years ago and I couldn't return to it. And then this summer I said, I'm going to finish this thing and I'm going to have support while I do it. And I don't know what that looks like, but I'm going to do this thing. And so I haven't submitted it yet to the publisher because I'm still trying to sit in the feeling of, I did this thing. And it's so amazing that I did this thing, and I'm really proud of myself, and it feels really good. And I want to polish it up the best that it can be before I submit it off, right? So that there's less on the tail end, so that the process can go a little bit faster, a little bit smoother, and I can get it out to you, hopefully this year. And for 2024, that's the goal. And so it just feels huge. But at the end of the day, to somebody else, it's like, well, you just wrote this book. No, I wrote this book. And it's all of a culmination of 10 years. And I had to pick and choose what would be included. And I had to remember the discoveries and the lessons along the way of the be here now. This is all you have, right? Surrendering, asking for help, choosing to trust that I have support, choosing to go to those people who can provide me support, because there are many people in my life who cannot provide support for me in the way that I need it. And, that's not their fault, but I need to take responsibility for that, for the choices that I make, for the behavior that I choose, and not have it be so unconscious, so automatic, such a reaction. But again, bringing that awareness in of this is how I'm choosing. This is what I'm choosing. Again, it can be between a really shitty choice and a really shitty choice. And at times I'm picking the lesser of the two evils, but I'm still making that choice as an adult, as a fully formed human with trauma, with scars, with issues. I'm still making that choice. And I have to live with those consequences when I make that choice. That's part of being an adult. And a lot of times humans don't do that. We want to blame somebody else. We want to shame somebody else. We want to play the victim. We want to say that life is happening to us. And I did that for most of my life. But did it make my life any easier? If anything, it probably made it harder. But I just wasn't aware to see that. I wasn't yet at that part of the journey, of the process. And so today I invite you to practice being more in the moment. When you're outside and you hear the birds, even in the middle of winter, when you can appreciate those sunny days in January when it's usually really gray and cold, when you can take those walks in solitude. I'll be taking B to the park after I eat lunch, and we're just me and her, Mother Nature, the birds, the trees, the whispers of the winds. That's it. That's all it will do. And it will continue to resource me so that the next time I'm in that experience, maybe I can have that conscious awareness of, I'm going to choose this rather than that. Right? Door number 1 or door number 2. And maybe you're not aware of the consequences of door number 1 or door number 2 in the moment. But maybe one just feels better. It just felt easier for me today to lean into gratitude, which is not usually my thing, to lean into awareness of being present in that moment. Again, usually not my thing, especially not in the store. I'm just so get me out of here. I don't want to be around here. I don't want to talk to anybody. People are going to bother me. I just need to do what I need to do and get home. But sometimes that chaotic energy, you invite more of that in. And then I don't feel any better. Instead, I feel worse. So it's a lesson for me as well. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.